there, one kite? I'm already into the 420, damn it!
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net. I'm your host, Al Graham. Tonight, my joint host, Kim Cooper, has brought us a guest, well, I'm going to say guests, who love to educate people about cannabis and bring it into stigma with bugs and a camera lens. But before we find out more, I'm going to have a quick chat with Kim. Well, Kim, what's new and exciting today?
Oh, lots is brand new and exciting actually going on in Northern Ontario. As everybody knows, I head up my little organization, NOSER, out here. I'm on the move once again. We are relocating from Timmins and we are Kirkland Lake bound. So I'll be in a brand new town in another part of Northern Ontario, spreading the information once again.
There you go. There you go. Hey, that just, what do you call that? And there's some like little child story about somebody who goes around and does stuff like that. I don't
definitely
know.
Covering the north.
Good. In our news today, we have not some happy news. We got some sad news. We got a lot of people who are very upset.
Yeah, a lot of medicinal cannabis consumers that are out there, patients that are out there, are really, crying foul about recreational cannabis becoming legalized in Canada. Prices for medicinal cannabis are going up because of legalization.
That's right, exactly. And also, access to some patients. We're finding out some strains are coming up short, and there's also the issue, too, when people have, they're living in apartments. And all of a sudden now they're being notified by their association or the board that looks after the apartment that they can no longer smoke or even grow, whether it's medicinal or not.
Yeah. And I mean, that goes against everything that we fought for with legalization. And I feared for patient access with legalization. I was concerned, that patients were going to feel the brunt of this. And I'm sad to say that those concerns are materializing today all across the board. Patient access, meds are running out. People, we've talked about this in the past, Al, that people take sometimes years to find a particular strain that works for their condition. When they find it, they have to stick to it and they have relief. Knowing that supply could be sold out on the rec market, leaving the patient hanging. I mean, how would that work if this was a pharmacy with a life-saving drug? Obviously, it wouldn't happen. So how is it happening here?
Yeah, there are patients doing without, and even for example, this story here with in Saskatchewan of a fella in his apartment. He's been growing, and now he's received notice that he can't grow anymore, and it's going to cost him $1,500 a month if he was to buy it off of Health Canada.
That's right. And patients can't afford the prices that LPs are charging that are mainly regulated by Health Canada, and all of the taxes that are added on are both federal and provincial. And there's no way around the new taxes. Excise tax are being added on by the federal government. Many provincial governments are adding their own excise tax on that as well. Yeah. Then you have your regular taxation, GST, PST, whatever the case may be, depending on where you live. Prices are outrageous per gram to start with through LPs, and you can only get it by the gram. You can't get a bulk order like you can in the black market. that makes it price prohibitive for patients. So we have no choice to grow. So if these apartments are taking away a patient's right to grow, where does that leave these people?
Well, that's what he's saying. Like, he figures it's going to cost him between $12,000 and $15,000 for him to shut down his production and then start up at a new location. And that includes access to cannabis during that time.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, all of this was supposed to be taken care of. Patient access and patient rights were supposed to be protected. They assured us of that along the way. Oh, you guys will be in a separate regime. You'll be fine. Nothing's going to change. Well, lots is changing, and patients are finding themselves unprotected. Who do you go to with this, and who's accountable?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Well, we know where the recreational people can go. Yeah,
for sure.
They can visit their Ontario ombudsman.
You have a rough time with that one, my friend. I know you do. And they are contacting the Ontario ombudsman in droves. Over 1,000 complaints have reached the ombudsman office since legalization was launched.
Yeah, exactly. They had to set up a triage team to deal specifically with the flood of concerns over the new Ontario cannabis stores.
And this is exclusive to Ontario. This isn't, Canada-wide. This is Ontario.
Yeah, but, I could just imagine if they've got something set up in the other provinces, they'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, Ontario, as everybody knows, we are the only province in all of the country that doesn't have even one single brick and mortar store. That leaves everything on the back of the new OCS, the Ontario Cannabis Store, which is the Ontario's retail model for distribution. No bricks and mortar stores coming till April, so this is what we have for the next 6 months.
They say the most common complaints are delayed delivery, poor communication with customers, and billing problems. I'm seeing people post pictures today of the product that they ordered 2 weeks ago. Well, on the 17th, so you're looking, 13 days ago? 14 days. 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago today, Wednesday, right? Yeah. Yeah, like, wow, would you go back to that same person if it was your dealer down the street?
Yeah, no, not a chance in hell. And there's a wide variety of products that I've seen pictures of. Some of the pictures that are coming out of the products coming out of the OCS store, I mean, pathetic looking product inside the bottle, really.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've also heard the complaints as reported on Monday about shortage and the fact that stuff just wasn't arriving. Yeah,
it's been problematic to say the least.
Not getting a response.
Stuff isn't coming in and not getting a response. They shut the phone line down. People that were calling the OCS to complain got a recording saying, we can't take your call because there's just too friggin' many of you calling, so we shut it off.
Wow, that's not right. No wonder. So no wonder they're getting 1,000 calls at the ombudsman.
Well, because OCS isn't answering the phone, so everybody's calling the ombudsman office saying, "Well, OCS isn't answering the phone. Are you going to do anything about this? Because it's ridiculous." So in drops the ombudsman now, all of the entire system seems to be breaking down in a large way. Packaging, also a very big issue. Yeah,
we're seeing that too. And I saw there was a company that's actually turning that into artificial arms and limbs with prosthetics.
Yeah, prosthetics. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that in the news. All right, Kim, what do you think? Should we move on to our guest?
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a good perspective on all of this and more, and I'm anxious to talk to this week's guest about his business.
Well, guests. We're going to talk to more than one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, at this time, I'd like to welcome the people I described as people who love to educate people about cannabis and bring an end to the stigma with bugs and a camera lens. And I'd like to welcome Shawn Drew and Roxana Gonzalez to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, guys. I know we can only hear one of you, but hello, guys.
Hello, how are you? Yes, this is Shawn here, and Roxy's just manning the front door for all of the little costume kids. We just got our first visitor today, so yes.
Happy Halloweed, happy Halloweed, and
happy
it takes
Halloweed.
a couple, one to man the door and one to do on the show, and we'll be trading off in a little while and having some time with Roxy as well.
Yeah, well, it was extra special for her. She actually carved her first ever jack-o'-lantern. I'll tell you, they do not celebrate Halloween in Cuba.
Okay. All right. So this was a first for her, so that's awesome.
And we have to remind everybody today is the last day of Pottober.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy Halloweed, end of Pottober. Al has just fallen in love with the term Pottober.
Oh, that's right. I've made a calendar in the past that had Pottober in it.
So what do we call November now?
Custom calendars. November? I don't know. I haven't thought of one for that.
Ask for you to think about, Al.
It's so easy to make October into Pottober.
Yeah, it is. So for all the viewers and listeners out there, Shawn Drew, who introduced himself, is with Roxana Gonzalez. They are a couple, and they are partners in business as well as life, is like I like to say about them. And you guys have this fantastic company where you take pictures of some really spectacular cannabis products, everything from bud to shatter and more, and you incorporate some creepy crawly creatures and some flora and some feathers and some vapor smoke, and you create these magnificent works of art. Just spectacular stuff. I mean, I love you guys' work. I have several pieces in my home, and I want more.
Thank you. It's an honor. I really appreciate the positive feedback.
Yeah.
I'm on your website, so every once in a while I might just say, "Holy smokes, look at that!" Like shower curtains with huge buds on them. Like,
yeah, cool, right? I mean, he's got some cool stuff there. Roxana is the photographer, and I guess you're the setup guy and imagination man.
Yeah, I guess that I learned a term. It's called staging. So yeah, it's I even do a little more than that now because I am an ACMPR patient. So this really all stemmed us getting into the cannabis industry after I got my medical license, and me and Roxy were already dating, and she's honestly one of the best photographers and graphic designers I've ever known, and so I was like, you know what? I'm super passionate about my medicine, and I'm going to these dispensaries, and yeah, we just kind of started by taking pictures for dispensaries, and then after the ACMPR came out, I'm a grower now. So all those live plants that you see, anything that's of like a live trichome or of the live plant with the butterflies and the dragonflies and all that stuff on it, those are right from our garden, and so yeah, so I mean, I get to contribute both growing the medicine and also kind of staging, and I have my vapor pen and blow the smokos, and I'll be the one playing with the insects, trying to get them to pose. And but yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's a real team effort. But she's the master behind the lens and tells me what to do and how to set it, and fixes it all up behind the scenes. And yeah, it's like I said, it's a total team effort.
Awesome, amazing. I love your little your hashtag there that you have, high art for every room. That's perfect.
Those your friends there in the photos, the praying mantises and grasshoppers and so on and so forth.
Yeah, butterflies, all kinds of stuff.
Are they in your garden too?
Well, hopefully I don't need to use them in my garden, because I do. It is, I like to keep an environment where I don't need predatory insects to keep my plants healthy. However, you know what? I do buy those same insects and I put them in my backyard for my vegetables, because predatory insects are predatory insects, and the praying mantis is one of the best generalist insects you could have in your garden. And lady beetles we have pictures of, which are another one. Green lacewings. I think it's called the Terminator. It's a zoomed in one on trichomes, and it looks like a really funky eyes on it, and that's called a green lacewing, and they're really good against white flies and aphids. And like I said, I'm just somebody that really believes in organic growing, and fight fire with fire. If you have an insect issue or if you're growing outdoors specifically, there's always going to be bugs and insects trying to eat your garden and eat your medicine. So, fight fire with fire and get these guys, saturated and they kind of do the work for you. So it's
Correct. Yeah.
So all of the elements in your photos have a symbiotic relationship, so to speak. They all go hand in hand. The extracts are from the bud. The insects keep the bud growing from and away from predators. The bud itself is the medicine. The smoke is the exhale from ingesting the medicine. So everything has a sort of a symbiosis to it.
It's layers, man. Lots of layers.
Excellent. Just amazing. Just amazing. And I mean, the work, Roxana has quite the eye behind the lens, that's for sure. And your setups on some of these are just amazing. The close-up shots of some of these itty-bitty, teeny, tiny bugs. And I mean, just the clarity is spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm sitting here looking at this bathroom shot with this big bud as a curtain. And I'm thinking, geez, like, is that your bathroom?
Well, actually, she does a lot of that stuff is done through mock-ups. Like there's a lot of programs out there that allow us to design our materials. That's how we do a lot of drop shipment through our website. Like it's really streamlined us because we don't have a lot of income. We don't have investors. I don't want to be a publicly traded company or have to answer to rich people telling me what to do. So we really try to manage it as best we can. But we're really getting into also not just artwork, which is where we started, but clothing and now home decor. We're looking into bed sheets now and pillowcases we've already done, and we've done.
And the services that you provide, you've got that listed here.
Yeah. So we do provide services as well. We've done photography services for a number of companies. I've done photography work. All of those concentrates that we have is actually diamond concentrates. They had us taking photography of their products for the last couple of years, actually. So that's been a really good relationship, and that's what's got me access to those concentrates because I just grow my cannabis plants and I just have flowers. So I'm not in the extract game. It's a little complicated and super expensive. So, I'll leave that to the experts. But it's been really exciting, man. Just working with them. I mean, I found out about all these new products. They send me things, and I have to Google what the heck it is, like HTFSE and all these THCA crystals swimming in terpene sauce. And it's really, really exciting to see the way that these companies have developed our medicine.
Yes, it is definitely an evolving situation. I kind of chuckled a little bit when you were talking there because I can just hear Al, and I know he's going through your website, and I can just hear him going, oh.
It was called the Terminator.
Yeah, that is the green lace wing. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. That one is that, and how you get the clarity. You mentioned the clarity is because Roxana uses a technique called stacking macros. So basically, we have some equipment that allows her to take multiple shots that move the camera about a millimeter at a time, and taking her expensive Apple computer and all of her Photoshops can digitally glue them together. So that way you can get the clarity throughout the image and. It really is, like I said, that's where I mean, you can take shots with your cell phones and things like that, but she really does take it to the next level by adding all of these techniques in, and we're working on new techniques as well, like shooting them in the pitch black, and it's called light painting. And there's one that you'd see the picture. It's got a galaxy in the background. Like that one we actually did using a projector and using a pitch black room, and we lit up the bud using a long exposure with a flashlight, which is how you get the bud to look clear, but also get the clarity of the projection.
Right.
What was it called? Do you know what it was called?
I want to say it's called Starseed, and I know there's another one called Stardust, and there's a few of them in there, and oddly enough,
the one with the colored galaxy in
precisely,
the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that strain and that plant was actually the Russian doll, which is the same one that, oddly enough, we had featured in Newsweek Magazine just last week.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Very nice.
That was amazing. Just amazing. I mean, going through stuff on your site, I mean, just amazing. You've got some wonderful new designs out there since even the last time I visited the site, which wasn't that long ago. I just received in the mail, I made a purchase from you off your clothing line. I was excited to try that, and I got one of your t-shirts and a pair of the women's tights. And I'm telling you, the quality of the material that you use, I mean, this isn't something you're getting out of frickin' Walmart.
No. And we made sure, we do actually get our clothing sourced in Canada. It's made out of Montreal, actually. So Roxana designs it all, and we outsource it to get made in Montreal. So it is Canadian made, and it's high-end materials, because we could, we looked at other options, but personally I have to have some kind of morals or ethics, and I can't be supporting groups that are producing their materials in China and India, and most likely, not sourcing or using child labor or anything. Like I said, I just want to really make sure that what we do is of the highest quality and caliber, and we're supporting companies that are doing things the right way.
Well, I can speak to the quality of the tights as a personal shopper and somebody that just received a shipment not too long ago, as I said. And I was astounded at the weight. They're like to pick, when I picked them up out of the package, just the pants themselves, you see them and they're just tights, and you think, oh, it's just going to be very light. And you pick them up and they've got some weight to them.
And they hold the color. Roxy's had hers and washed them I don't know how many times, and like I said, that's why we stick with the companies that we've found make the high quality. We've dabbled around trying other people, and we tried some companies out of the States before, but really, I mean, the partners that we have set up are quite spectacular. However, ideally, I am still truly looking for somebody that can make our designs, but print them and use them on hemp fiber, and I cannot still find somebody. It's been years, and I can't find anybody that can do this for us.
Really? And I mean, I guess that would be the ultimate for you then, is moving into the hemp fiber stage, right?
I want to have my artwork put on hemp canvas, and I want it mounted using hemp board, and there's using hemp based frames. I mean, there's so many different things that I have envisioned to actually make this completely cannabis and hemp centric. It's just like I said, we're still small and growing, and every show I do, I always meet new people that make hemp clothing, and it's getting close to where I want it, but for drop shipment and the things that we need to make it work for us, it's still not quite there yet.
You'll get there. I have faith that you'll get there. You guys have launched this company by leaps and bounds. And I mean, it hasn't been easy doing it on your own, that's for sure. And the product line, it just keeps expanding and it keeps growing. Al, you mentioned the home decor there, the thing that stuff like, shower curtains, pillowcases. You could have, cannabis art that's tastefully done in almost pretty much every room of your house, right?
We're working, we are working on the ideal goal is to actually, be able to decorate a house top to bottom with really elevated cannabis-centric photography and imagery. And like I said, we have our coffee mugs, and I would love to get into more dinnerware, because I think infused cooking is going to be a big part of the future. And honestly, the possibilities are endless. Anything that you can put an image on, we eventually want to go there. I would have to say, though, I mean, I really thank you for all the positivity that you've been sending our way, but we wouldn't have been able to do this without the cannabis community. I mean, I just really have to say that, I mean, we've had tremendous people support us along the way. Coming from Ontario, I mean, our group, when I went back to Karma Cup this year, it was borderline emotional, seeing how well people received us, and all of our friends, that have helped us along the way. And, we met individuals like Amy Anonymous. That's if you're familiar with their new SwearNet show as well. Yeah. She connected us to the Trailer Park Boys, and the Trailer Park Boys wore our clothes on season 12 on Netflix. I mean, blew my mind. The 2-person company. But I'll tell you, like I said, it really is this community that helped uplift us, and that's one thing that heading into legalization now, I'm a little bit, I don't know how to feel right now. A lot of my friends have either lost their businesses or are really stuck, or they're getting, let go if they worked at dispensaries that are no longer operational. I mean, we're really in the people that help make this industry and make this plant known for its medicinal properties they're in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, brings us full circle around now that we've covered the outlying portions of what you are and what you're doing with Roxy, there, which we'll get into in detail in the next segment. But let's end this one off with your thoughts on legalization. Al and I talked at the beginning of the show about some of the problems happening in Ontario. You have a good perspective, being from Ontario and then migrating out to BC. How do you see things? How is it different out there? Is it different out there than it is in Ontario?
It's a good question. I mean, it's hard for me to say how things have changed in Ontario not being there anymore, but I can tell you that our move from Ontario last October across Canada to come to BC, my initial impression of the general acceptance of the cannabis industry, whether it be in the Vancouver core on mainland or out here on the island where we live, it was night and day. Communities seem to be a lot more accepting of dispensaries that are in their areas. There was, a lot more events. And I'll tell you this, for example, last Canada Day, we went over to Vancouver. And downtown at Thornton Park, they had a Cannabis Day show. Like, it was just a pop-up event, and it was surrounded and protected by the police. They didn't say a word. There was just a huge open market, and I talked to the police specifically, and I wanted to find kind of the angriest cop in the group that really wasn't into cannabis legalization and was just, I just really want to get their opinion, and I had a conversation about it. And you know what? Even the angriest cops about legalization out here, I think they understand the epidemic that we're dealing with in BC, specifically with the opioid and methamphetamines, and drug and mental health is drug abuse and mental health out here isn't extremely noticeable. And I do think that that has something to do with possibly why communities out here are a lot more accepting of it, but I'm not sure. I'm new out here, but now heading into post legalization, I know other dispensaries that are getting shut down. They don't have permission yet through the government, and they want to get their license to sell as a legal dispensary. But the real bottleneck is the government itself, because they have to procure the cannabis from the government, and they're not set up to do any of that yet. They're just taking applications. So they've essentially kind of tied the hands of anybody that wants to do this the right way. So it kind of puts people in a position where they're either forced to operate and risk being shut down or lose their legal license moving forward, or sit back and lay off all their employees and kind of hope that things work out in the next 6 months. I mean, it still really is it isn't nearly as positive as I was. I was very optimistic pre-October 17th. Post-October 17th, it's been shocking. I don't know. I have to say it's not really coming out as I was hoping it would. But, I do understand that this is a big capitalist society that we live in, and government has their hands in this, and this is going to be a big cash crop. And there's a lot of investor money in it right now that has it out for anybody that's doing this not the legal way, and it's difficult. I don't really know what to say, but how is it in Ontario right now? I mean, I'm trying to keep up with how the stores are going. I mean, I've been trying to keep up. I've been seeing a lot of articles about the First Nations really trying to get their grants by the government to have dispensaries, and I'm just not really sure. Like, how is it out there?
As far as the First Nations, there are some that are moving ahead with things. There's one near me here that has they've got between 30 to 50 dispensaries on the reserve.
That's good.
Anything from small, normally you would call it where they get the cigarettes from. Yeah. And then or you got, as down here, you got Legacy 420, which is a very large place. The guy has Tim's got a lot of money invested in the place. Proper security. Yeah. It's built equivalent to match the LP specifications.
Yeah.
So and then there are other locations that there was one I just posted today. Unfortunately, I can't say the name of the place.
Yeah, don't.
That they've agreed to go ahead and have dispensaries there. It's almost, from what I understanding from hearing from the government, they're almost going to allow them to make that decision.
I really hope they do. I mean, the one thing that I was so excited about for legalization, and I'm still not giving up on being optimistic about it, because I think that initially the government, I understand that they want to come out hard and make it's easier to peel back regulation than it is to put it on. But I really hope that they start to recognize their failures quickly, because you guys mentioned some stuff starting the show, whether it's the pricing or the accessibility, even for medical patients. And this is really a huge concern. I mean, honestly, I'm a patient that grows, but not everybody has that ability. Right. And it's not an easy thing. Trust me. I pretty much pull half my hair out every 3 months. I'm trying to do this because, I'm still learning, and it's a very difficult plant. So that's why we need the experts, to stay in this industry.
They could say they got 120 licensed producers out there, and they got a huge amount in the queue, but there's one in Coburg that's, saying, wow, here we're 2 years waiting for us to get our licenses because of the processes. And, in order to stop this shortage, why don't you just allow it so that, the black market stuff gets tested and it gets sold retail?
He's not the only one that's asking for that. Many people are saying that is the way to go. That is the solution, because currently the gray market dispensaries are not out of product, and that's where people are going.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me like they're trying to control every aspect of the food chain, and honestly, it's too much work, and you can already see they're failing right out of the gates. I mean, it's I don't know. So like I said, getting back to being optimistic, I do really, really hope that as our society starts to see what cannabis can do, they start to compare the difference on what is alcohol doing to people, and how has it destroyed families, and how does it, quite frankly, straight up kill people, cirrhosis of the liver, and the way that, anyway, there's alcohol. Then there's also the pharmaceutical epidemic that we're talking about that are caused by our doctors, the opioid epidemic that we have, the number of people that are, being put on antidepressants like myself that had no business being on them in the first place.
That's right.
Because all they do is kill you. I just watched an insane talk about statins, and how overprescribed those things are. And, our doctors are what are failing us. And hopefully, like I said, my vision is that our doctors start to wake up one day and they start to realize that they swore a Hippocratic oath, which was to do no harm. And, they are doing nothing but harm to us. When you put somebody on an opioid and then they can't afford it any longer, and the street drugs are cheaper, I mean, it is directly responsible by our medical facilities. I mean, it is our doctors that have failed us, and it is our police and our government just sitting there taking, not the police taking, but their government taking payouts from these lobbyists that allow them to get away with this, whether it's the advertising, the commercials. I mean, are you sick? Are you tired? Are you hot? Are you cold? Take this pill. It's ridiculous the way that they market this stuff. And doctors use off-label prescriptions for this. And you know what? Like I said, at the end of the day, I think that as the years go by and we start to see, due to legalization, I'm hoping that we start to see the statistics that we saw in the States, like the drop in opioid deaths and the number of, mental illness prescriptions, like for antidepressants and things like that. Those things start to decrease. Those are the biggest sellers for these big pharma people that have been paying their way to get away with murder. And, I'm just really, like I said, I'm hoping that as time goes and we start to see that a lot of the hysteria around cannabis, specifically, the children, let's worry about the children. I cannot listen to people anymore talk about the safety of children when parents
parents are giving
their kids meth and they call it Ritalin, and they're sitting there ripping about cannabis. I mean, like, give me a effing break, you know? Like, so there's a lot of hypocrisy that's in our society right now that I'm hoping that over time, you know, people start to see that shit, this like really is not such a big deal, and why, you know, anyway, like I said, that's my vision, because it's changed my life. And as cannabis got more accepted with me having a medical license, my family's opened the door to it. Like, my mother can use this bath bombs that I make, and the topical salve that I make from my garden, and it's helping her with her arthritis. I mean,
finding out alternative ways of using it instead of the smoking method that most people have only known, introducing them away to alternative methods of using it.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big supporter of, you know, even though it looks like smoking, but vaporizing, because I have a portable PAX 3, and you know, with forest fires and with all these environmental issues and people that are, you know, I just think that vaporizing is, one, it's healthy, and two, it's also safe, you know, and you can set the temperatures and get better flavor out of it. I mean, everything.
You're not burning away your terpines and everything else. You're getting it at the right consumption. But I know Al's trying to break in here.
Al's trying to go to break. Okay, well, as you mentioned, break time. Shawn, what we try to do is match our song to our guest, and today's Halloween too, Halloweed, right? Mm-hmm. So I think what I've done, I've been able to combine you and Halloween all in this, because your bugs are like little monsters. So tonight's music is by the Toys and their song Monster Hash. When we return, Kim and I will continue our talk with our guests, Shawn Drew, and coming up soon will be Roxana Gonzalez. This is the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
I was working in the lab late one night when I heard the gurgle of a water pipe. So I turned to see my monster in a cloud of smoke, who said, "This shit ain't bad. Here, have a toke."
We smoked some hash.
We smoked some monster hash.
Some monster hash.
It was his personal...
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as a daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered, and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarawana. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show, featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gagnac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net. or at our sister site, 420radio.ca. Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Canadays, your friendly neighborhood Campbellford head shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Let us help you grow your 4 with weekly Tuesday night gardening sessions for beginners. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Canadays, more than just a head shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Partied in the castle with the living dead. Mouths were dry and eyes were red. The ghouls and goblins shrieked and screamed. Won't somebody please pass the Visine?
They smoked some hash.
They smoked some monster hash.
Some monster hash.
From Frankie's personal
We
stash.
smoked some hash.
And they all were smashed.
On monster hash.
They smoked some monster.
Hey, welcome back to the award-winning Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net as well as at 420radio.ca. Tonight on the show, I'm joined by our guests Roxana Gonzalez and Shawn Drew of Chronic Canvas, plus my hard-working joint host. Okay, Kim, in the first segment, we had a good talk with Shawn, and I believe we have Roxanne with us for the second segment, right, Roxanne?
Yes, hello guys. I am here and ready.
All right. How about you, Kim? Did you get that medication break into you?
Just barely.
I hear some coughing in there.
Just barely. I was on the exhale at the start of the show there. Yeah. We got into chatting with Roxy when they did the switch there, and I was late getting it into me, but we got her done. And I'm so glad that Roxana is with us right now. Of course, she is the photography end of the business with Chronic Canvas, and this lady has quite the eye behind the lens. Recently, Roxy, you found one of your spectacular pictures featured in a really major magazine, and in the centerfold, no less.
That's correct. To my surprise, I was just looking through the pages. I always like to look to recognize if I can find one of my images, because part of our business, when we take photos, some photos are the best ones are selected to be printed on canvas and become part of our collection. But a lot of the pictures are more generic. I sell licenses through stock online stock images websites, and that's how these big companies like the Newsweek Magazine found one of my images, and they decided to use it in the centerfold. And to my surprise, it was right there when I found the magazine.
So you didn't get advance notice or anything, because you don't take care of that end of the business yourself. You
exactly
license them out these stock photos.
Exactly. The stock agents, I use a number of them, more than 8 of them, and each one has a different clientele, and they deal directly, the agency, with the client. And I just worry about taking the good pictures and sending them to them, and they take care of marketing and sales, and it's a lot easier for me.
And then you just are glancing through magazines and newsprint, and all of a sudden you see one of your shots sitting there.
That's correct. Sometimes I'm just looking. This is the first time that I find a large print like this. Is a 2-page centerfold. Sometimes I use just a small corner or half a page, maybe on an ad or something like that. But this is the biggest so far. And right after legalization, it feels like an energy booster for us. It's giving us motivation to keep taking more images and keep growing more of them.
So this would be like Newsweek's big feature article on the legalization of cannabis.
Yeah,
and you're in the centerfold.
Yeah, they did. They did an entire Newsweek magazine, like the front cover to cover. It's all cannabis. It's called Newsweek Weed Edition, and the very center cover, very centerfold, was Roxy's shot.
Not only that, it's my shot of a plant that Shawn grew himself. So it's a house-grown cannabis plant.
Nice. One of Shawn's girls. Front and
Exactly.
center. Excellent. Oh, that's so fantastic. You must have been just blown away, I guess, eh?
I couldn't believe it. We're just like, all right, take a picture. We got to show you.
Yeah, for sure. Proud moment for sure. You've taken so many spectacular shots. Shawn explained a little bit of the logistics to us on how you do it, and that you're really good, with the Photoshop end and the technology part. It's not just about the camera, it's about incorporating technology to make the shots even more beautiful.
Yeah, that's correct. There is a lot of work that goes into planning and post-processing, even creating the appropriate light setting, because, to see the smoke in a black background, you need to have the light in certain positions, so you highlight the smoke. And we're always trying to create something new and eye-catching and trying to make cannabis look cool, because we think it's just so cool and inspirational that we want to share that with everybody else.
Absolutely. Well, you have one hell of an eye behind that camera, my dear.
Thanks so much.
That you take are just spectacular. I've said to Shawn earlier, I have several of your pieces in various rooms in my house. I even have your clothing line now that I got. And you're responsible for those pants, I would take it. The tights that I got,
That's
are
correct.
just so great. I was really impressed by the material, the weight of the material, the quality, as well as the design.
Thank you so much. I get a lot of compliments. Every time I wear them, I keep one set for myself because I like to see people's reaction. And it's incredible. Sometimes people see the peacock and don't see the cannabis leaf. Sometimes you see the cannabis leaf right away. It's very interesting. I try to be a little subtle sometimes and kind of hide and hint what the theme is, but cannabis is always there.
Yeah, it's a saying in Timmins now. I've worn them in my mall, and everybody knows in this town that I'm sort of the cannabis person out here, and I wore them in the mall, and lots of people turn their heads. But now I'm known every time people see me, and they'll know me from that clothes that I wear from you, and they see me, and they say, "Oh, peacocks and cannabis." And I say, "Yep, that's right."
Why not? It's just cannabis goes well with almost anything, I think. I haven't found something that doesn't go well with cannabis yet.
I don't see any men's shorts.
Men's shorts, you are right. We don't have them yet. It's just the company that we use to outsource the printing and the sewing of the clothing. They are more focusing in creating items for women. I am trying to find somebody who can provide us with more variety for men. But the problem is the challenge is trying to find these companies in Canada. Most of them are in the States, and we're trying to have at least the most that we can, the production of all our items made in Canada. We want to support local economies, and we want the quality of the product to be the most important. We want our customers to be, loyal to us and appreciate what we do. And that's why we put so much effort into creating those items.
And I'll tell you, it shows through in the products, Roxy. It sure does.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Like even as they've got flip flops.
Yeah, they're cool.
Flip-flops.
Yeah,
That's right.
and
they're cool.
Now I know with some flip flops, you can wear off the picture in a day or two. I assume that these are going to last longer than a day or two.
It's a very high quality print, and it has, on top of the print, it has a layer that actually protects the print, so it's not going to fade that easily. course,
Good.
with years, everything wears down, but I have received so far very good reviews and feedback from our customers. This is a product that we launched earlier this year. It hasn't had a year yet, so as the years go by, I know the leggings for sure are very high quality because I had mine 3 years ago, and I still wear them, and they still look like practically new.
Yeah. I mean, swimwear, everything from and accessories. You can get handbags and all kinds of things, flip-flops, T-shirts, leggings. The clothing line is quite extensive, and the home decor line is just beautiful. I love the shower curtains. I think that's
they're awesome.
I think my bathroom is the only room I don't have something in, so we'll have to change that in the future.
Well, we'll take care of that for you. We make sure that you have cannabis even in your bathrooms. It has to be everywhere in the house.
Like even you took that Stardust photo, and I see that Shawn was mentioning earlier, and Kim as well with the Galaxy. You're able to take that shot, and you've been able to use it in different products, like the flip flops, the curtain, the shower curtain here.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to a very wide audience, and I found in product testing that a lot of people like this cosmic and galaxy imagery to go with cannabis. I don't know, it appeals. I don't know to what it appeals, but a lot of people find them attractive and sedating and blends well with everything else that you can have around the bathroom. So, yeah, I gave it a shot, and it seemed to work out.
I have a
friend. Yeah, I have a friend that went out and bought, I didn't know you had shower curtains still today, but she went out like a year ago and bought shower curtains and looked online looking for something. So now that I know these, I will make sure she gets
and so
your
many
website.
varieties too. I'm a big fan of ones
exactly.
with smoke in them. I like the one with the I guess is that a nug of keef or something sitting in the
it's
bowl.
a piece of wax. I think it was called at the moment.
Is it wax?
Wax crumble.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's
by the
that's
gram.
amazing.
It says on.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love how the smoke is swirling and how that was captured there. That's hard to do.
It is. Good thing is that we have digital cameras, and sometimes, especially with insects, we have to take hundreds and hundreds of pictures to get the right one, where the wings and the smoke and everything is in the right location.
Well,
and
these
then
are
that's
not high.
the one.
These are not high-paid insects, well trained. These things.
Okay, time to pose.
They seem to enjoy the smoke. That's very funny. Once, sometimes we had a very sketchy butterfly. She kept running around, and once we blew a little bit of smoke around it, and it was like around the trichomes and getting all sticky. I think it got a little more sedated, and then it started cooperating. So I was like,
You got them
dedicating your insects for cooperation.
Oh,
I love it.
She was loving it after that.
Yeah, like we said, it just makes you zen, right? So if it chills out a little bit and lets them relax, you're going to make them a star. They'll be happy.
Yeah, captured, their image is going to be captured for the posterity.
That's it. That's it. I mean, just amazing work. So do you have inspirational moments as well with the setup and everything, or is it just strictly behind the lens?
No, you know what? It changes. Sometimes I have ideas that I know I want to portray. I just don't know exactly how it's going to look like at the end, because then Shawn brings in a lot of ideas, and when we're setting up, he might think of something that I didn't think of. And I just put there the elements, and he organizes them in a way, and I was like, I never thought of this, and something nice come up. But
it's a joint effort.
Yeah, it is definitely a joint effort, and he has a very good eye also for composition and color. And I just know the technicalities on how to use the tripod and use the scale for the stacking macros, and always try to bring in new techniques so we can create new photos, like the light painting, which is something I want to explore in depth next. So once we get these new flowers in time, when they're blooming or they're just before harvest, that is the moment when I like to experiment the most, because I think it produces the most beautiful images of the flower when they're just bursting everything with trichomes and all ready. Just it's like maturity. It's like peak moment of beauty in the flower.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see all of the plant, as you say, it's just exploding at that particular time. All the juices are flowing, the nectar is there, everything is there. Yeah, amazing plant, just simply spectacular in its beauty. And for you to be able to capture such magnificent close-up shots to show people the true beauty of this plant, it also helps further the agenda and end the stigma. And you write that on a lot of your articles as well.
That's correct. We knew what the mission was. We knew we wanted to get the message out there, and we knew that we wanted to be part of the cannabis industry just using our strengths. So we realized that by doing something that not everybody's doing, we can we can bring a different message. We can find our own space and develop this imagery. And now we have a style. People recognize it. Sometimes people see our images somewhere else and they say, hey, this is Chronic Cannabis. And that brings us so much joy. You have no idea. And also, the more we learn about the science, Shawn is very driven by science. And I think art and science kind of fit into each other in a very strange way. The more we read about terpenes and the cannabinoids and all the properties that cannabis has, and just the science of it, all these new cannabinoids are being researched, the more we get motivated to try to capture cannabis in a different light, how to hint towards this, beauty and all his medicinal properties. I mean, it's such a holistic plant. It's good in so many ways that it's just hard to classify it under one single category. It is, to me, it is a super plant.
Awesome.
It's super all right.
It shows through that love and that dedication. It shows through in the work. I think that's why you're able to capture such wonderful shots.
I appreciate very much, guys.
Looking at one
people
here,
like
Mary.
you really help us keep going forward, because sometimes, especially moments like right now, it feels like it's a moment of transition, and we're kind of looking what's going on and try to have an idea what's going to be next. And people that support us, just like you guys, give us just the strength to keep moving forward and just to bring more excitement and something new, and just going ahead, trying to end the stigma and make cannabis accessible for everybody.
And the pictures are done very tastefully. Like, I'm looking at this one called Mary's Wood with the butterfly and the bud.
Yeah.
And the background is out of focus stuff going on in the background there. And these are types of things that could be hanging in people's living rooms, everything like that. Like offices.
I could see a lot of these in my dentist, in my doctor's office, in my dentist office, in my lawyer's office. I mean, they're as you say, tastefully done.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. Like, I have a friend. She probably loved this photo. I should post it on her Facebook wall. Here, I should share it on a wall, because she loves dragonflies, and this picture here is called Double Dragon. There's two dragonflies.
I know, and two different kinds of dragonflies.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that on a wall while we're talking.
There you go.
Just the whole adventure of capturing the dragonflies, bringing them home, just creating an environment where they're kind of safe, because we release them once we're done. And we treat them with a lot of respect, and just getting those two in that position at the same time, it took more than 100 pictures, more than 100
I
tries.
would think so, yeah. I mean, that's quite the task. And I mean, it's so clear and so spectacular. Like, you can see veins in the wings and wow. Just yeah.
I can see that just sitting here looking at them anyway. She's right. Yeah, you can see the veins in the wings.
Yeah. Macro photography is like a door to this new universe. It's just you go into a different scale, and it's like you're in this new reality, and everything is amazingly or surprisingly beautiful. Like, for example, the face of the praying mantis. When you see that in a full blown through the camera lens, it's kind of scary at first. It feels so much bigger than what it actually is, and it looks like a whole different universe, the trichomes, the plant matter, all the insects and their parts. Like you get access to something that you don't see with your ordinary eyesight. So it makes it extra interesting.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I was talking to Shawn earlier about the Terminator because it's really
that's so cool.
You got you can almost see a reflection off the bug's eyes. It's so close.
Yeah, it has like a net and it has like iridescent vibes all over it. It is pretty incredible. And it keeps us learning about nature. Like I didn't know the names or the subspecies of the dragonfly and the praying mantises. Like it made me research a little bit more and try to find different species, where they're from, what kind of conditions do they need, and it opens our horizons and complements the idea that cannabis is just this natural medicine. It's part of an ecosystem and a bigger environment, and has a place in today's environment. It's so important. We can produce paper out of hemp, and we don't need to take down forests and trees that took hundreds or dozens of years to grow, and we can just use cannabis in a 3-month cycle. We can use it for fibers for clothing. We can use the oil. We can use the seeds. We can use the hempcrete to help build houses. Like it has so many uses. Everybody should be on board. If they're not on board with cannabis or THC, they should be at least on board 100% with hemp production all over the world. I don't know why we're not doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no question there. Some of the shots are just, I keep going through them and I keep finding new ones that I never seen before.
I know what you mean. Like this one here called Inner Fire. It's almost like a dragon.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, but it's
go on
whack.
to the site because
it's shatter and just the way it's all formed.
Yeah.
Well, we were pretty lucky to also take product shots for concentrate companies, and we could send sometimes labs of shatter, and we're like, oh my God, we're gonna turn this into just the sickest art, and that's how we get to do all of that, because sometimes we get sent. We couldn't afford to buy those amount of concentrates. Trust me.
Well, I'm sure the company, it helps them promote their product.
That's correct.
Like I don't know whether the person buying the picture might realize who the supplier of the shatter was in the photo, but the company itself uses their, this as promotional.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, it's just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing. Eye of the Tiger is very cool. I mean, there are so many on here,
and it's gonna keep growing. You wait, because every year we're gonna keep adding more and more, and streamlining our website and our store, and we're always planning to bring in new products. And sky's the limit.
And you're using more than just the buds. Like I'm noticing, you're using little parts of the plant.
Yeah, they use parts of the plant.
Calyxes sometimes,
Yeah, exactly.
Shatter, everything.
Trichome pillow.
Yeah, that's cool, eh?
Siberian rose pillow.
That's cool, eh? The snail is very cool, too.
Yeah, and you know what people love, too? The black and white pictures. We have one, I think it's called 1,000 Blades. It's a black and white picture, and people love that one. I don't know what is it about the black and white. It makes
Freedom
it so
Torch
classy.
Freedom Torch is one of my faves too.
That's the one with the smoke and the swirls.
Yeah.
It's just page after page.
Oh, it just goes on and on and on. I could be here all night looking at this stuff. It's
eye candy.
Oh, there's the snail. Yeah, the snail pillow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool.
There is. It looks like this praying mantis might be blowing smoke rings. Peeping mantis. He's got a bud there, and he's got some shatter.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, ladies, it's time for another break.
Yes, we are there again. When we come back, I guess we'll finish off with Shawn and Roxana and find out I want to get into what prompted the move out to BC.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're going for a commercial break. Our listeners will hear some more of the toys in the song Monster Hash. Okay, any photos with hash?
There's an idea.
We'll find out after the break. Okay, when we return, Kim and I will continue our conversation with Roxanne and Shawn, and you're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here, lifestyleradio.net.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Toking on a ball. Wolfman said, "Don't bogart that, pass it along." The swamp thing was toasted, rolling on the floor, laughing hysterically and pleading for more. The scene was rocking as the werewolves moved to the undead reggae band's dance hall grooves. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Frankenstein bakes some Alice B. Toklas brownies and cakes.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Cannadays, your friendly neighborhood Campbellford head shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Let us help you grow your 4 with weekly Tuesday night gardening sessions for beginners. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Cannadays, more than just a head shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as their daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarawana. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gagnac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
This is Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Catch me on The Reefer Reporters, aired on lifestyleradio.net. Available for replay or download on Lifestyle Radio or Spreaker.
Tune in to DJ Passion from the land of Ganja, the island of Jamaica, when he comes to you live every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on lifestyleradio.net. Listen in until midnight every weekend as he spins your favorite reggae tunes, including the classics, from Butterfly's Passion, Bed and Breakfast above Discovery Bay. DJ Passion makes you feel like you are on the island. Head to the land of sun, fun, and ganja weekly when you tune in Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Reggae Saturday with DJ Passion, live here on lifestyleradio.net.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The party would have gone on till we all passed out. But just then we heard a blood-curdling shout. Watch out! Beware! Cover your necks! Dracula's got the munchies and he's totally wrecked.
He smoked some hash,
He smoked some monster hash.
some monster hash.
He was completely
He
smashed.
smoked some hash.
That Transylvania.
We're back and we're live, but if you missed the live version of the Pace Radio Show, you can always catch the podcast version afterwards at iTunes, iHeartRadio, Sonos, YouTube, plus other audio locations. Tonight, our bumper music featured the Toys and the song Monster Hash, and if you like to hear it, pick it up yourself. I found it on YouTube. Tonight on the show, we are joined by our guests, Roxana Gonzalez and Shawn Drew of Chronic Cannabis, and my joint host, Kim Cooper from Northern Ontario Cannabis Educational Resources. No, sir. Right, Kim?
Yep, and we're back with Shawn for the final segment of the show. And I think we're going to change directions a little bit.
All right.
All right.
Let's do that.
All right. So, Shawn, we talked in the beginning that you're originally from Southern Ontario, and that's where we originally met you, was at some of the events that take place around the Toronto areas. And when we experienced your wonderful works of art, I think at the first time was at maybe at the Karma Cup 3 or 4 years ago or something like that. Yeah. But you moved out to BC. That's not quite moving around the corner. Why such a drastic move?
It's a good question. We hit a time and we were living in Windsor. Like that's where really we started our company from. And to be perfectly honest, what really got us out of there was I'm an ACMPR patient. I was growing my garden, and I actually had somebody that claimed to be a friend of mine and gave me some clones that were littered in spider mites, and I had no idea, being a new grower, that you never take clones from people. I don't care if they're your best friend, you just don't do it without looking at them at least. And so essentially I lost everything. I mean, my whole garden got decimated, and I was having a meltdown because I didn't know what to do with my house. I was like, I don't even want to regrow. Like, I don't even want to be in this house anymore. So that was a big motivating factor to get out. And then why BC? Well, we started thinking, we were at that time, Ontario was under the Kathleen Wynne government, which I have no idea what Doug Ford's up to, or what, I don't know what that guy's up to. I'm not really paying attention to Ontario politics anymore, but Kathleen Wynne was definitely not a friend of cannabis.
That's for sure.
That's an understatement, but yeah, us living in Windsor as well was equally challenging because it's a border city right beside Detroit. The city itself just did not seem to want to embrace the industry at all. And we just looked at like, what the hell are we doing here? I just lost my garden. I'm like, what the hell am I doing in Windsor? Like, so let's get out. And then we just thought, BC truly has been always known as the hub of cannabis of Canada. Like I remember in high school, it wasn't the best weed unless it was BC bud,
That's right.
and so I was like, let's just go for it, like, fuck, let's just see what happens. And I knew Ontario was not going to be as open to the idea. Like if there was ever going to be privatized dispensaries, I thought us as a cannabis art and clothing company that we'd be able to partner with all these dispensaries that are going to be available come legalization. That was before I realized how the government was going to not allow dispensaries to sell anything but the product itself. So that took away that idea. But like I said, we looked at all across Canada. East Coast was enticing because East Coast really does kill it in the cannabis game as well. But there was just something that truly spoke to me about just the nature of BC, like the forests out here, the ancient cedars that we live by on the island here.
You had a calling.
And with Roxy, with her photos, I mean, we were destined to come here because, we don't just take pictures of cannabis, like we also are, landscape photographers, or she is as well. So it just seemed perfect. It just seemed like it was going to be the right move.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we decided to come out. And then why the island was truly the idea of like, we were like, oh, we could just move to the mainland BC, which was where I figured I'd end up long term. But I was like, if I move to the mainland, I'll never transition to the island. But if we start on the island and I fall in love with it, I'll stay. And if I don't, I can just go back to the mainland. Well, once we got here, I'm dying on this island. You can quote me on that.
A lot of people say that once they get there, they'll never leave. It's a very attractive place, and it seems like it's the right fit. As you said, BC is sort of, the cannabis capital of Canada, as they call it, right?
Yeah.
So, you being in a cannabis industry, it's a good fit, for sure, and it suits your lifestyle. So, sometimes things happen for a reason. Maybe those spider mites were a gift.
You know what? I will fully admit that actually all the worst things that have happened to me in my life have always ended up being either, the foundation of making me stronger or putting me in the direction I was supposed to be in. I mean, yeah, so I couldn't agree anymore.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So now you've landed in BC, you're secure there on the island, you're loving your life, things are exploding, legalization happened. What's next for Chronic Canvas?
Well, it really is a never-ending journey of just making more artwork and more photography and just really showcasing cannabis in all of its shapes and forms and expanding how people can kind of accessorize their life with our imagery. Mm-hmm. But what was really inspiring was seeing that stock photo in the Newsweek magazine that you guys were talking about with Roxana, because we realized that there is a whole other side of photography that we never even thought about, which is Roxana's stock imagery and being able to support, really any company that's looking for that kind of photography, whether it's a magazine or a news outlet or, the real challenge though is we're in a dark market. And I think that most of our images are going to end up getting sold internationally unless Canada starts to relax its advertising regulations.
I think Canada's media is stuck on about 6 stock photos.
Yeah.
The weed girl, the guy with the big joint in front of Parliament Hill.
Yeah. It's the same ones over and over and over again in every story. There's a half a dozen that they just continually reuse.
There's a world of imagery out there, and we want to just, like I said, saturate the market and get Roxana's name out there for that, because like I said, there's a whole world. Just because Canada has tight regulations on imagery and advertising does not mean America or Amsterdam or Spain or Germany or all these countries that are now legalizing across the world. I mean, the possibilities are endless on the internet, but I do want to help Canadian companies try to figure out their space in this market, and that kind of brings up I'm working on how to position Chronic Canvas now to use our artwork and our clothing and our all the products that we're making as the platform for cannabis companies to advertise, because we don't sell cannabis products. Like, I don't sell the cannabis flowers or concentrates or topicals or anything. So that puts you on the outside of the border, right? We're artists, we're just straight up our clothing designers and artists. And so what my, vision is that companies start to recognize this, whether it be an LP or an up and coming company that's really looking to get a foothold in how do you get your brand out there and how do you distinguish how good your product is versus somebody else's, is partnering with perhaps people like me and Roxy to use your product as our medium to make more artwork and create a dedicated page to show our fans specifically who grew that, and how do you get that. So like I said, that's really hopefully something that people will start to see as an option to partner with us. But beyond all of that, I mean, there's just no stopping our motivation to continually grow and get more styles of, colors and shapes and patterns and clothing. And I mean, like just the idea of creating all of that and trying to also symbolize and message little aspects about cannabis through imagery. I mean, like, that to me is exciting. Like that, I don't know, it's just continually growing. Yeah, for sure. Spectacular work to date.
I don't see you slowing down. I see lots of ideas and plates spinning in the air with you guys right now. And man, I can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now I don't see any pictures of any hash.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I would love to find somebody that has some delicious hash that I could take some photography of. That actually, it's one of those things, you know. The companies that we partnered with, they just we're looking for hash people.
Hash, yeah, there you go.
Hash people, you want your hash to become a star? Well, get in touch with Shawn and Roxy.
Yeah, like I'm looking at these kimonos. I guess you could call them house coats. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're kimono robes, I guess.
Yeah. White shatter, like it's the Swiss cheese look that you would see laying there on your parchment paper of your shatter. It's now on. You're wearing it.
Yeah, you're wearing it.
Yeah. Well, what we really find exciting about little styles like that is to non-cannabis smokers or users. I mean, a lot of people came up thinking it was something like peanut brittle or like caramel, you know, like they had no idea what it was. And so like that's kind of like the fun part about some of the imagery is seeing how, you know, different people perceive it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that because they wouldn't have a clue maybe as to what it is.
Well, I'm constantly educating people that are asking me from the artwork, like a lot of people that aren't like, what is that? What the heck am I looking at here? And, you know, like try.
I knew what it was right away.
But that's what's cool about it, you know. That's it really, and it's exciting because you know you can use the imagery to educate. You know, like it's awesome. I'll say we definitely found our passion.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. Spectacular works of art. Lots of plates in the air, as we said. So exciting times for the future then. You know, if you wind up being, you know, sort of the only avenue for advertising, that could be exciting.
Well, you know, that's like I said. I just think that I come from a business world. Like I used to be a salesperson. I worked for Big Tobacco, oddly enough. I mean, I've come from some pretty vicious sales companies,
you've come to the dark side.
Well, but you know what's really interesting about it is that tobacco is such a relatable industry when it comes to the challenges that they have versus cannabis. But what is not the same is that even tobacco gets away with more than what cannabis can. And they also had the foothold of decades of advertising and promotion and, you know, sponsorships and all that. So their brands were already recognized when it went dark. But the cannabis industry is coming in black. Like, I don't understand if I was owning a company, like how do you distinguish your brand now? You got to really think outside the box.
So many advertising rules and stuff that you know that they're restricted so tight, and that's what I was wondering. Like, could you guys like in Quebec? You know, they've had problems there. You know, dealing.
Can't even wear a pot leaf.
Yeah,
it's got a pot leaf on it. It's illegal.
Yep. Yeah, no, see, this is the kind of ridiculousness that, you know, hopefully our governments, you know, shakes their head and realizes that there's, you know, a lot more things to be worried about. And there's a lot more things they're failing our population on than cannabis regulation. But, you know, like I don't really, we'll see kind of what happens. But the restrictions that I find to be totally the hypocrisy of the government to restrict people from advertising using imagery. But the day of October 17th, I visited the government websites and they had pictures of cannabis leaves from stock imagery all over them. And I just think it's hilarious how, you know, they're going to disable all these entrepreneurs and business people to have a medium, and even social media is starting to shut down accounts. It's not about it's just the imagery itself, you know, like it's ridiculous how people are trying to regulate this.
But the government is using it.
No. Well, when you're the main drug dealer, I guess you can say whatever you want. You know, it's ridiculous. That's the one thing that I really hope that they realize. Like, how are you going to do this in this market? How is Canada going to capitalize on these billions of this huge economic windfall if all of a sudden you just can't see it anywhere. Nobody can use it anywhere. Nobody can. It's like they're shooting themselves in their own foot. They have billions on the floor, and our tourism and honestly, Canada can change the landscape of our communities. I mean, I live like specifically here in BC. I mentioned it earlier, so I don't mean to go on a tangent, but we've been really involved in communities up here, like in Nanaimo. It's very close to where we live here, and they're really dealing with a huge crisis of what they call tent city, it's really it's not. They look at it as a homeless issue. I look at it as a mental health crisis, and there's just you can put anyone in a home, but if you don't fix the root of the problem, it's not going to go anywhere. And I think that our government's failing because they should be partnering with cannabis industries. I understand that cannabis LPs have to pay off their shareholders and they have to turn profits, but somewhere along the line, I hope that we realize that cannabis can help people that suffer from opioid dependency, and they can help people that suffer from mental illness and PTSD and a lot of the issues that put people on the street in the first place. So, I mean, if cities understand that and start to open their doors to these dispensaries and vape lounges and giving people safe spaces to use it, I just think that they can truly transform their city and their economy and tourism attraction. And I mean, it's unbelievable to me that they're just trying to regulate it so tightly that it's become unattractive. I feel like it's almost easier to get away with things and smoke it in America, where it's federally one. It's a Schedule I drug, federally speaking, in America. I mean, I almost feel like it's easier to use it down there.
A lot of people feel the same way, Shawn. A lot of people are saying, legalization. We are under more regulation now than we were on October the 16th. So, you're not alone in your views. It's definitely needs a lot of work. But I mean, we did it. We are here. We do have something of legalization. Parents of children can consume now without the risk of losing their kids. 75-year-old men with 3 joints in their pocket aren't going to wind up in cuffs. So that portion we've got taken care of, but it's definitely a work in progress.
Agreed. But like I said, I like to stay optimistic, and I like to sit here and send out a positive message, and hopefully people that are on the other side of whether it be the government or police enforcement or law enforcement actually understand like how our community wants this industry to move forward, and hopefully they start to listen. Yeah, for sure. Agreed. And hopefully it doesn't come on the backs of patients, which seems to be the effect playing out today, which is a whole other topic for a whole other show. It's not any better out here, despite BC being the hub of cannabis. I mean, there have been some pretty exceptionally insulting busts that have happened. There's a group in Vancouver that used to hand out free cannabis to heroin.
We know. We had them on, actually. We covered that.
Unbelievable,
Vancouver
man.
Substitution project that's out there. Really
it's ridiculous. Ridiculous how they can stick their finger in people that are truly doing good. It's whatever. It's
an evolution, and we're at legalization, but we're not done yet.
So do you think now with the legalization, though, as far as business wise for you, opens you up to maybe different avenues, or more people maybe more open to having the photograph with the frame and all that hanging somewhere where it would be seen publicly?
Wider audience.
I agree, and what's really neat is like here in Nanaimo, they have a lot of these cruise markets, and it's a lot of Americans that come up, and I'll tell you, I mean, because we're legalized, and also a lot of states, like we're right north of Oregon and California and Washington, and all those states are all into it. So it's interesting. They come up here now, they want to buy our clothes because it's a new way to express themselves, and it's also they're not going to get in trouble going over the border with clothing. So like there's like a whole new way for also what I'll tell you that the biggest impact I've seen in our clothing was when we first started. It was a much younger crowd that was just storming the gates and trying to get their hands on it. But more often, we're starting to see it. Maybe it's because we live in the island and there's a much more seasoned, I guess you could call, population out here.
Mature.
Yeah, mature, exactly. and I'm just noticing just the acceptance of, people I wouldn't expect to wear cannabis clothing, buying cannabis clothing. And sometimes they don't even care if they buy it because they love the imagery of it. And when they find out it's cannabis, some of them get taken aback by it, and then they don't use cannabis. So they're unsure whether or not they want to buy it. But what blows my mind is when they sit there and they say, you know what? I'm getting it anyway, and my sister or my daughter's going to just go nuts when she finds out what this is, and they get excited because it's like neat little ways to kind of, express yourself. Like the rose pattern specifically, the rose and the cannabis leaves, it's unbelievable how many people don't notice that it's a cannabis leaf with the rose. And they buy it.
The eye goes straight to the rose, right?
Exactly, and that's what I like about it is like it's just a way to subliminally hopefully get these pictures and these leaves and the flowers in people's minds so it's not so shocking and stigmatized. And that's one of our other big hashtags, just kill the stigma. It's just something that we really just want to get the message about, that this isn't a harmful substance. It's actually a beautiful plant that can help people with a ton of ailments. And it's something to be proud about.
Yeah, for sure. Fantastic company, fantastic stuff that you're doing there. The products are off the hook. High quality stuff, Canadian made by some great Canadian entrepreneurs.
Oh, you're the sweetest, Kim. You're making me blush over here.
For sure. Hey, I mean it. People that out there that know me, they know I don't say it unless I mean it. I will not just tout a company because they're on my show. I don't do that. If I back you, it's because I believe in your product.
And as you said earlier in the show, you ordered stuff from their website.
Yeah, I have a house full of their stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are going to have some more gifts coming your way for the holidays. So
you were talking earlier about the ladies in their leggings. I see you got shorts here for them too.
Yeah, bathing suits. I mean, everything.
Those are bathing suits here too.
Reversible bikinis now. Yeah, there's the bikini line was actually pretty successful. That was you can actually pick any patterns you want and have them reversible, so you kind of get 2 in 1. And she's done one-piece bathing suits as well. We're working on, like I said, the men's line. It's unbelievable how difficult it is to find our manufacturers that want to cater to men. But
I asked Roxanne about men's shorts, and it depends on.
We're getting there, and I'm really optimistic that hopefully we'll have them for next summer for the men. What we're really working on right now is we're designing toques and hoodies and things that are more winter oriented. So we're going to have gear for every season and little items for every room in the home. So
nice,
right on. Very cool.
I'll do that double. I'm talking about the bathing suits too. They're nice too.
Well,
flip-flop tricones. Flip-flop tricones.
Flip-flops, yeah. Flip-flops. We got, like I said, beachwear. I just think that for sure. There's new ways. We're going to be launching towels as well. We've already found a few. We just have to find the people, get a couple made, send them to us to make sure the quality is up to par, and then we'll launch it officially. So,
and then you can take, like you talked earlier about the rose. It looks like it was in leggings. You've got it here in bathing suits. The peacock, which was very popular, so you got it in leggings and you got it in bathing suits as well.
Yeah, the peacock I've got in a few things. I like that one.
Peacock and the Rose have for sure been our most popular models or their designs that Roxy came up with. But that's where we start to really test and find out, where people, what do they find the most interesting, and we just try to use that as our platform to make more things that are just different, but anyway, yeah, I'm really glad you guys.
I told Roxy when I was on with her, Shawn, and you may not have heard this, but when I worn my tights in our local mall here. And people stop and they look at me and I'll say, yep, peacocks and cannabis, nothing wrong with that. And people laugh, right? And I'd be walking down the street and I'm not wearing the leggings. And somebody will walk by me and say, oh, peacocks and cannabis. And I say, yep, that's right.
That is an awesome story. And you would be shocked. Like, we go walking in the woods and people just stop Rox right dead in their tracks and just ask her about the pants. Like, they really are. When people recognize it, it just takes them back. You know, like,
conversation
like, wow.
pieces.
Totally.
It creates a conversation. That's right. It gets people talking about the subject.
If you're lonely, man, buy my stuff, man. People will talk to you.
That's it. Conversation starters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, pineapples with cannabis leaves on them.
He's got everything with cannabis.
Yeah.
Coconuts, pineapples, peacocks, everything.
Well, pineapples is like the symbolism because you got Pineapple Express, right? And I've heard something on Reddit about people that have pictures of pineapples or pineapple lamps. It shows that they are like cannabis. I don't know what. Some guy told me about it at an expo, and I'm not on Reddit, so I don't know what he was really talking about. But there's some symbolism with pineapples and coconuts. There is so much symbolism on coconuts. You infuse in coconut oil. You can grow in cocoa core. You can. I mean, like, there's just so many things that involve coconuts and cannabis that it's like I said, that's what we try to choose. And then the cheese, you got cheese strains, and that is a cheese strain sitting on the cheese. And
yeah, it's all associated, right? Associated with everything.
Some strains you can really have fun with, like Blue Dream. We got a dream catcher subtle in the background,
that's
and
right.
We did a Death Bubba Shatter that was on top of a Crystal Skull vodka, and so if I can play with the name, then I'll go for it. But as well as I do, some of these names,
right?
They're tough. They're tough. Like Django, no idea.
Some pictures might not be appropriate if the picture goes with the name.
That's right. Yeah.
The names are very interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. Some of them have gotten. Some of them are out there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I think we're going to be launching. That's one thing people can pay attention to on our website is we should be launching our 2019 calendar shortly. We just are designing them right now, so hopefully those will be out for November. So people looking for a nice Christmas present, a little entry into the Chronic Canvas family. I mean, our calendars always have been fan favorites.
Awesome. Nice. And the 2018 one was so nice too. Yeah, for sure. Excellent product line. I mean, I can't say enough about the product line, and I can't wait for new stuff.
Well, it's never going to end. So yeah, definitely. If you don't know or follow us on, like I said, on social media, we're on all those platforms. We're going to be launching all sorts of new designs over the next few months. Because good part about the winter is this is our time to kind of buckle down and get super creative because it gets real rainy out here. You guys get the snow out there, but it gets awful wet out here on the island in the winter. So
yeah, you still do the hibernating thing, right?
Precisely.
Yeah, just different elements outside.
Precisely. No, but what's neat about it is that we'll get some really nice moss shots because and that's the other thing I gotta make sure you guys know about. I want you guys to come do a radio show out here on the island, and you're gonna come stay with us.
Okay.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be cool.
You have no idea. I got a chest freezer now, and your brains will explode when you see the goodies I got for you guys.
We'll have to take you up on that, my friend. We'll have to take you up on that.
It better happen. It's an open door policy for my friends. So yeah, that's definitely it's exciting times coming up, and I'm really, really excited. What's the next big thing you guys are doing?
Oh God, I don't even know. I don't even know right now.
You guys burned me last time. You asking me questions about
the brains. I have so much going on right now. The end of the year, after coming off of doing all the events in Timmins, my brain is just scrambled.
You got to move. You got to get ready to move.
And now I got to get ready to move.
Oh, that is always the best. I absolutely love moving.
Who doesn't, right?
Alrighty, Shawn. Have we got anything else you'd like to touch on that we maybe haven't touched on?
I think we had a pretty good conversation. I could talk for hours. So you know what? I think now's probably a good time to wrap it up. I mean, before we go, obviously, I'd love to give a little plug about our website and social media.
Yeah, go right ahead. Spill them all out. Let everybody know where they are.
Cool.
How they can get a hold of you.
If anyone is looking to get a hold of us or check out our product line, you can visit our website at www.chronicanvas.ca. That's CHRONICCANVAS.ca. And we're on Instagram at chronic_canvas. We're on Twitter, chronic canvas, no underscore. And Facebook under chronic canvas art. And yeah, I mean, you could find me on LinkedIn as well, and Facebook. And anyway, yeah, that's really probably all the ways you can find us. You can also email us if you're interested, or if you are the hash guy that wants to have your stuff featured on our artwork. You can always hit us up on email, which is just chroniccanvas@gmail.com. And yeah, I think that's about as much information I could spew on you.
Excellent. Hit all them sites.
Yeah.
Hit all the sites and get in touch with Roxana and Drew, and Shawn Drew. Yeah, we hope you get a hash guy, because that's really exciting for Al.
I'd like to see that. Yeah, you could build and mold things.
Well,
depending on how soft it is, right?
See, you follow that Frenchy cannoli down south? Holy man, that guy makes some crazy looking hash.
Well, hey, while he's down south, he's not in Canada. Unless
yeah, I know. I got to fly him up here to make it, but yeah, no. I would love hash, and the other reason why I want hash is we still have a good line in with the Trailer Park Boys, and they are in love with hash. So if I can get hash, that hash that we'll feature will probably those pictures are going towards the Trailer Park Boys themselves. So it could be an added, kind of bragging right if you do get a hold of us.
So hash guys, get in touch on the canvas.
That's right. Get lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Kim, have you got a shout out where you'd like to?
Yeah, I'm going to give my shout out this week to a gentleman that is going above and beyond for patients across the country and taking a stand against the government in his region and in Canada. Bob Dillman is currently on a hunger strike down in Nova Scotia. He started his hunger strike. He's on day 10 without food. He's staying very well hydrated, and he's still in good spirits with his family and friends around him and pulling for him. He wants answers from the government as to why patients are paying the price for current legalization, and so far nobody's stepped up to give him them. So please, I ask everybody to reach out to your MP, your MPP in your local area, inside Nova Scotia and beyond, across the country. Ask MPs why they are not paying attention to this man and his plight and his hunger strike, and why isn't the government reaching out to him, giving him some answers so this can come to an end. You can check out more information on what Bob Dillman is doing and follow his hunger strike on the Higher Living Wellness Center website on Facebook under Higher Living Wellness Inc. Heidi Chartrand running that site through Higher Living Wellness down in Nova Scotia. So hats off to Bob Dillman. My heart goes out to you, my friend. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope the entire country takes a stand and reaches out to their MPPs and urges them to do something and get in touch with Bob Dillman to end this hunger strike.
Thank you. That's right. It's when it gets to that extreme, when someone's got to go on a hunger strike, that's not good.
Yeah.
Especially a patient, somebody who's already not, well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's ill. He can't afford to be on a hunger strike. This is causing his illness to get worse.
Yeah.
And all he's asking for is some answers. We need members of parliament to come out and give him these answers, along with the rest of the country.
That's right. Unfortunately, it's going to take time, and when you get into these situations, there's not a lot of time.
No, there's not.
So, all right, we are back next week. You and I, right? Right, Kim?
Yeah. Is it us again? No.
Yeah.
It is. Once again. It is us again.
And your guest, do you remember who your guest is?
I
think I know.
I sent you the list.
Yeah,
I told you. I have scrambled eggs for brain. Oh, that's right. Jonathan Hilt. He just came out with a new book, and it's just been released on paperback. It's been out available to read electronically, but it has just been released on paperback this week. So it's perfect timing to have him on the show and talk about his brand new book.
Good. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. You can find Pace on Twitter at Pace Radio. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on the web, pace-online.ca. Thank yous go to our sponsors, the friendly and helpful folks at CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. Shawn, there is a company that needs a photographer.
Yes.
Who?
CC Nexus.
CC Nexus?
Yep, they're a cannabis seed wholesaler. They're a wholesaler, and they have a retail outlet as well.
Looking them up right now.
All right. True North Seeds, Connect Seeds, they're all connected.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else. Thank you to our producer, Al Rapp, man with the Shadowizer in one hand, and he's got his baggie in the other. His vapor bag. Thank you to our guests, Roxana Gonzalez and Shawn Drew of Chronic Canvas, and to my joint host, Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Plus, thank you to our listeners. Thank you for tuning in the program, and good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.